Good afternoon. I am Jubel Munoz from Bachelor of Science in Customs Administration Section B of Group 2, and I am assigned to report the 5.14 suspension or closure of the CFW. Upon the closure of the CFW, a careful examination of the account of the warehouse shall be made, and dutiable goods stored in such premises must be removed at the risk and expense of the operator, provided, however, that the premises shall not be relinquished and its use shall not be discontinued until after a careful examination of the account of the warehouse shall have been made. 5.14.1 The district collector shall, without prejudice to the imposition of administrative penalties and filing of criminal cases against the responsible person, cause the suspension or closure of any CFW under the following grounds. A. In case of discontinuance requested by CFW operator, or when the conditions warrant pursuant to the Section 807, Chapter 2, Title 8 of the CMTA. B. When the operator knowingly facilitates or assists in the commission of smuggling and other illegal activities in the CFW. And C. In case of pilferage of goods stored in the facility. Now, when we say pilferage, it is a crime of theft of little things, usually from shipments or baggage. For letter D, failure to account for goods stored. E, being inactive for a continuous period of at least 1 year, no transfer of imported goods. F, failure to submit of imported goods. G, violations of customs laws, rules, and regulations. And H, other practice or violations of law which negates the intended purpose for which the CFW was established.
Except in cases of voluntary discontinuance, there shall be a closure or suspension proceeding to be conducted by the district collector, where due process must be observed. For the purpose of a customs memorandum order shall be issued to outline the conduct of administrative proceeding to be instituted in such cases. Sa mga kaso ng voluntary discontinuance, kailangan na may closure o suspension ng pagsasara sa sasagawa ng district collector kung saan dapat sundin ang angkop na proseso. Upon closure of CFW, a careful examination of the account of the warehouse shall be made and dutiable goods expense of the operator, provided however that the premises shall not be relinquished and its use shall not be discontinued until a careful examination of the account of the warehouse shall be made. Sa pagsasara ng CFW, isang maingat na pagsusuri sa account ng warehouse ay ang dapat gawin, at ang mga dutiable goods na nakaimbak sa naturang lugar ay dapat na alisin sa panganib at gastos ng operator. Closure of a CFW shall be effective upon approval by the district collector, who shall within 10 days inform the commissioner of such action in writing. Decision ordering the closure of a CFW shall be appealed to the commissioner within 10 days from receipt of the decision, otherwise it shall be deemed final and executory. Ang pagsasara ng CFW ay magiging applicable lamang pag na-approve ng district collector, na dapat sa loob ng 10 araw ipapaalam sa commissioner ng naturang pagkilos sa pamamagitan ng pagsusulat.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. I'm Wilmer Matanggihan from Bsca 2, Section B, and I'm here to report the Section 5.14.5 of CAO 9-2019. According to Section 5.14.5, notice of discontinuance made by the operator shall not result in the discharge of liability for payment of any duties, taxes, fees, and other charges imposed on dutiable goods in said warehouse. Sabi, ang notice of discontinuance daw ay ginawa ng operator ay hindi magreresulta ng discharge of liability para sa pagbabayad ng mga duties, taxes, fees, and other charges na ibinigay sa mga dutiable goods sa isang warehouse. Ibig sabihin, kahit may notice of discontinuance, kailangan pa rin magbayad ng mga liability for payment, tulad ng mga duties, taxes, fees, and other charges sa isang warehouse na pinaglagyan ng isang dutiable goods. Let's proceed to Section 5.14.6. The owner, operator, or officer of CFW shall not be relieved of criminal liability arising from any violation of the tariff and customs laws and other laws enforced by the Bureau in connection with the operation. Sabi, yung owner, operator, and officer ng CFW ay hindi reliable sa nangyaring criminal liability o kung anumang nagagawang violation sa tariff and customs law and other laws na in-enforce ng Bureau para sa koneksyon ng pagsasagawa ng operation. Section 5.14.7 Suspension or closure of CFWs with existing contracts with government agencies and other regulatory bodies shall be governed by the provision of the contract and the rules and regulation of the concerned government agency or regulatory body. Sabi yung pagsasuspend or pagsasara ng isang CFWs na mayroong existing contract ng government agency at ng other regulatory bodies ay kailangan maging govern or maging according sa provision ng isang contract at dapat sang-ayon sa rules and regulation ng nasabing government agency or regulatory body. Kailangan bago ipasara or ipasuspend yung isang CFWs, dapat according to sa contract na napagkasunduan nila ng government at ng other regulatory bodies. That's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jenica M. Hernandez from Bsca 2, Section B, and I will report Section 5.15, which is security. But first, let me talk about security. Security refers to any form of guarantee such as security bond, cash bond, standby letter of credit, irrevocable letter of credit, or liability insurance, which ensure the satisfaction of an obligation to the Bureau. Section 5.15 Security. In case where transfer of goods, including empty container, to an off-dock or off-terminal CFW is allowed, the operator shall post and maintain a non-chargeable annual security to cover the duties and taxes due on lost or damaged goods while in transit or stored in security. It means that in transferring goods to an empty container to an off-dock or off-terminal, the CFW is allowed. The operator also allowed to post a non-chargeable annual security to cover the duties and taxes on the damage of goods. The security shall be the amount of 5 million or equivalent to the average of duties and taxes for goods or empty container transferred to the facility for the last 12 months or whichever is higher. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jamil A. Gonzalez, and for now, we are going to discuss about Section 5.16, the Transfer Note. All transfer to off-dock or off-terminal CFW shall be covered by a transfer note or any equivalent document approved by the district collector or his duly authorized representative. So, sabi dito, lahat ng containers or kargamento na tinransfer sa off-dock or off-terminal, CFWs or the custom facilities and warehouses is covered by a transfer note or any equivalent document na dapat is approved by the district collector or duly authorized representative. The transfer note shall state the following details: container number, name of the carrying vessels, registry number and voyage number, date of arrival, and port of origin. So, narito yung mga examples ng containers number, nandito sa baba yung mga pictures, tsaka yung date of arrival. Ang date of arrival is yung, hindi yung kung kailan dumating sa terminal, kundi kung kailan mo nilodge, yun yung i-record na date of arrival, and yung port of origin kung saan nanggaling. 5.16.2 Pending the establishment of a system-generated, transferred, and release instruction transfer to any off-dock or off-terminal CFW shall be subject to the following condition: accompanied by duly approved transfer note, supervised by any Science Bureau personnel, and in case where unfiling of goods declaration is required, no goods shall be released from the off-dock or off-terminal CFW unless the corresponding goods declaration is electronically lodged or the goods are cleared for release by the strict collector in case of manual release. Sabi dito, kung required ka na mag-file ng goods declaration, wala kang pwedeng ilabas na goods unless the corresponding goods declaration is electronically lodged and nilinaw ng district collector na pwede mo nang i-release yung goods mo unless the manual release. Of goods to any off-dock or any terminal CFW shall be under the supervision of assigned Bureau personnel. The Bureau shall integrate all processes pertaining to transfer and receipt of goods by off-dock or off-terminal CFW to its current computer system. That's all and thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Joseph Abol. I will report the application for establishment of extension or additional facilities. Sa pag-apply ng isang extension warehouse, ang district collector ng main warehouse ang magfa-file nito sa bureau. Ano ang extension warehouse na ina-apply kay bureau? Ito yung extended o separate warehouse sa main warehouse, which for example is kay Portnet. Isa siya dating logistic na nag-extend as a warehouse o CFS. Sa application ng extension warehouse, kailangan meron kang supported documents tulad ng CTC, barangay clearance, lease contract or certificate of title, location or vicinity map, etc. Sa pag-apply ng extension warehouse, kailangan yung location ng extension warehouse mo ay dapat nasa location ng main warehouse mo. Kasi for example, yung main warehouse mo ay located sa Manila, tas yung extension warehouse mo ay located sa Batangas. Yung ina-apply mo extension warehouse should be treated as a new application na.
Hi, good morning. My name is Karen R. Martinez, Bsca 2B, Group 2, reporting about reportorial requirements and annual compliance evaluation. Section 5.18 is all about reportorial requirement. First, what is a reportorial requirement? It is a stricter for companies that sell securities to the public are listed in the stock exchange or are classified as public companies. A person who makes and issues the official accounts or records of the proceedings of the court. The annual compliance evaluation is about periodically comparing compliance obligation, requirements, and the actual situation of an organization. To achieve this, an organization must keep an update list of compliance obligation and compliance obligation requirements. Section 5.18.1 says, when the owner fails to file an entry within 30 days, which shall not extendable from the date of this discharge of the last package from the vessel of aircraft, or having filed such entry fails to claim his importation within 15 days, which shall not likewise be extendable from the date of posting of the notice to claim such importation. Procedure that a customs house broker is obligated to report on the number of customs clearance cases handled and the amount of charges for the business year. The operator of the CBW or CFW shall comply with the customs requirements of the establishment, security, suitability, and management, including stock keeping and accounting of the goods. The Bureau shall access the premises at the reasonable time and to all documents, books, and records of accounts pertaining to the operation of the CBW and CFW.
Good day, everyone. I am Giselle Badillo Maalab from Bachelor of Science in Customs Administration, second year, Section 2B. And I am here to discuss Section 5.19 of Customs Administrative Order number 9-2019. This is entitled Establishment, Maintenance, and Operations of Customs Facilities and Warehouses. And Section 5.19 is all about penalties. So we all know that any misconduct, unlawful or unauthorized actions of any operator or personnel, those persons shall be liable to penalties. As per 5.19 of CAO 9-2019, without prejudice to the criminal liability under the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act, the following administrative sanctions shall be imposed on the operator for the following offenses. So like what I have said, those person or operator who will do some unauthorized or misconduct, unlawful actions, they will have criminal liability. So for first offense, unauthorized removal, delivery, or repacking of goods. So this refers to removing, delivering, or repacking without any authorization coming from or without permission coming from the Bureau. So when you committed it first time, or which means first offense, the corresponding penalty is suspension of authority to operate for 1 year. And when you committed it again for the second time, your penalty will be closure. Closure of what? Closure of customs facilities and warehouses you operating. And also, as per CAO 9-2019, merchandise so concealed, removed, or repacked, or packaged upon which marks, number, or the values thereof have been so altered or defaced or obliterated shall be forfeited in favor of the government. So, those merchandise or those goods wherein their marks, their numbers, or the values are altered or meaning they are changed, those goods will be forfeited by the government. Forfeited, it means that your goods will become permanently owned of the government. Next one, the suspension or closure shall be without prejudice to the penalties under Section 14.8 of the CMTA and the forfeiture of funds posted by the OFDAC or of terminal facility operators pursuant to Section 5.12 and Section 7.3 of this CAO. So those suspension for first offense and closure for second offense are without prejudice to the penalties under Section 14.8. So those closure or those penalties for those offenses are under Section 14.18 of our Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. And those forfeiture are under the Section 5.12 and 7.3 of this CAO or the CAO 9-2019. Another one is under Section 5.19.2, which refers to penalties for late submission of application for renewal required under Section 5.6 of this CAO shall be as follows. So, renewal of application of authority. This is what 5.19.2 is referring to. And penalties for late submission. Renewal for application of authority to operate shall be submitted before at least 90 days before the expiration of authority to operate. So, if you are late 31 to 60 days before expiration of the validity period of the authority to operate, your penalty will be you're going to pay 100,000 pesos. And if you are late if you submitted late the renewal or application for renewal for about 1 to 30 days before the expiration of the validity period of authority to operate, your penalty or you're going to pay 150,000 pesos. And prohibition on the transport of goods to off-dock or off-terminal CFW until approval of the application. So, those are the two. You should not be late because the application for renewal for the authority to operate shall be submitted at least 90 days before the validity period of the authority to operate. You should remember that from 31 to 60 days before the expiration of the validity of your application or of your authority to operate your customs facilities and warehouses, you should pay or you are liable to pay 100,000 pesos. And for second, or it should be the second offense, wherein if you are late for about 1 to 30 days before the expiration of the validity of your authority to operate, you are going to pay 150,000 pesos. Another thing is that failure to submit the documents. There are corresponding documents you have to submit when you are going to renew your application or your authority to operate your customs facilities and warehouses, and those documents shall be submitted within the prescribed period, which is under the section 5.6 of customs administrative order of this KAO. And if you are failed to submit those documents, your customs facilities and warehouses will be closed. Your penalty will be closure of your customs facilities and warehouses. So I hope these penalties are all clear, and always remember that those misconduct, unlawful, or unauthorized actions, there will be a criminal liability for that. So thank you.
Good morning, I'm Giancarlo B. Lugmao from Bsca 2 Section B. I'm going to report the Section 6 Terminal Facility Operators. The terminal facility operators with authority to operate granted by other government agencies and regulatory bodies shall comply with the following requirements. Number 1, unhampered access to premises. Port operators shall provide authorized customs officers with unhampered access to all premises within their administrative jurisdiction, cognizant of the internationally accepted port safety and security rules and regulation. Sabi po dito, ang mga port operators ay dapat magbigay ng mga pinahintulutang opisyal ng customs na walang nasisirang mga akses sa lahat ng mga lugar sa loob ng kanilang pamamahala ng jurisdiction. Number 2, provision of areas for physical examination and non-intrusive inspection, subject to the provision of Section 1111, Chapter 3, title of the CMTA on the cost of physical examination of alert. Trade goods operators of terminal facilities shall provide suitable areas for physical examination and other customs equipment free of charge in favor of the government within a definite period of time, as agreed with private port and airport operators. Sabi po dito, ang operators daw ng terminal ay dapat ang operator of terminal daw ay dapat magbigay ng angkop ng mga pasilidad para sa physical na pagsusuri, at kasama dito ang angkop na pasilidad para sa mga articles na nangailangan ng maayos na paghawak tulad ng dangerous of hazardous goods and high value items, processed goods, perishable goods, at iba pang mga articles. The areas to be designated for the conduct of physical and non-intrusive examination shall conform to the Bureau's goods clearance procedures and requirements. Designation of additional areas for examination shall take into consideration the following factors. The number 1 is the disposition of abandoned and forfeited goods. Number 2, the business and commercial operators. 3, terminal area. 4, volume of import goods being handled for examination and safety and security, and standard for handling radioactive cargos. Thank you.
My name is Lyra Meiji Pasis from Bsca 2B. I am here to report the 6.3 System for Temporary Storage of Abandoned and Overstaying Goods Prior to Lodgement of Goods Declaration. So, sabi dito, ang temporary storage ay isang uri ng system kung saan dito pansamantalang nilalagay yung mga overstaying goods or abandoned goods bago i-lodge sa goods declaration. 6.3.1 The Commissioner, in coordination with the terminal facility operator, shall establish a system for temporary storage of imports prior to lodgement of goods declaration for abandoned or overstaying goods. So, sabi dito sa 6.3.1, bago ka makapag-lodge ng goods declaration sa abandoned or overstaying goods, kailangan muna ni Commissioner with coordination to the terminal facility operator na mag-establish ng system for temporary storage of imports and export goods before the actual loading of the carrying vessel. So, 6.3.2 Terminal facility operators shall provide suitable and secured premises for temporary storage of overstaying or abandoned goods. They shall provide authorized customs officers with unhampered access to the storage facility for temporary storage of goods, taking into consideration the requirements under the International Maritime Organization, International Ship and Port Facility Security, and other relevant international security and safety standards. So, sabi dito sa 6.3.2, ang terminal facility operators daw ay kailangan daw nila mag-provide ng maayos at ligtas na lugar para doon sa mga goods, sa mga abandoned and overstaying goods na ilalagay doon sa temporary storage. At sabi din dito, kailangan din daw nila na mag-provide ng mga customs officers, authorized customs officers na may unhampered access to the storage facility for temporary storage of goods. So, tapos, yung goods na yon, kailangan din nila ng requirements under the International Maritime Organization, International Ship and Port Facility Security, and iba pang mga relevant na international security and safety standards. So, lastly, yung 6.3.3, in case of loss, damage, of deterioration of the goods stored due to the negligence of willful misconduct of the operator shall be liable for the payment of duties and taxes due thereon, unless the loss, injury, or damage is caused by force majeure or other causes beyond the operator's control. So, sabi dito sa 6.3.3, in case daw na magkaroon ng sira or damage yung mga goods na naka-store doon sa temporary storage, ang may kasalanan noon, ang mga mananagutan doon ay yung naka-assigned na operator. So, si operator din yung magbabayad ng nangyaring damage dun sa goods, at unless na lang kung yung pagkasira ng goods na yon ay dahil sa force majeure or other causes beyond the operator's control.
Good morning, Joanna May Aguilar, Bsca 2B. 6.4 Special Areas. For the protection of revenue and to prevent the entry of prohibited goods, the Bureau may require terminal facility operators to provide special areas for the following. 6.4.1 Transshipment Cargo. A transshipment is when cargo or a container is moved from one vessel to another while in transit to its final destination. Transship containers count twice in the port performance because waterside cranes handle them for unloading from arriving vessel A and loading onto departing vessel B again. Next, dangerous and hazardous goods. Dangerous goods, also known as hazardous material or hazmat, is any substance or material that is capable of posing an unreasonable risk to health, safety, and property when transported in commerce. Customs custody that are subject to disposition include abandoned goods with final decree of abandonment, goods deemed abandoned pursuant to Section 811 or the period of storage in customs bonded warehouses of the CMTA, forfeited goods other than prohibited, restricted, and regulated goods after liability have been established by the proper administrative or judicial proceedings, goods subject to a valid lien for customs duties, taxes, and other charges collectible by BOC after the expiration of the allowed payment period, and goods subject of forfeiture proceedings when certified by the customs officer as perishable goods. Next is stripped or segregated cargoes found or suspected to be in violation of customs, laws, rules, and regulations pending final disposition. Then the last one is storage, stripping, and examination of consolidated shipments. Customs exams can be a significant source of frustration and confusion when you're moving goods in and out of the country. Additionally, when your shipment is put on a customs hold, it can completely derail its timeline and cost you money.
So good morning, my name is Rasaployd Emma Ala, Bachelor of Science in Customs Administration 2, Section B. I am here to report about CAOSIN 09-2019, Establishment, Maintenance, and Operation of Customs Facilities and Warehouses, especially Section 6, Terminal Facility Operator, Subsection 6.5, Periodic Reports. The operator shall submit a periodic report containing the following information. So first, it has always been part of the business that when we are under the jurisdiction of the Bureau of Customs, we should always report to the Bureau in order for them to monitor the legitimate business, especially in the import and export management, the handling of containers and the storage of containers on the Bureau of Customs premises or any other facilities. That is operating the customs facilities and warehouses. So they report on discharge and loaded containers to and from the vessel. So ito yung mga containers or yung mga goods na i-discharge on board the vessels and then loaded to the truck or yung mga truck delivery truck in order for it to deliver to any warehouses or any warehouses that they are destined kung saan talaga sila dadalhin. Kailangan i-report ito ni operator. The second one is daily report on received and delivered container. So after ma-discharge and i-load sa mga delivery truck, yung mga warehouse operator, especially itong mga customs facilities and warehouse, diba? It's a type of warehouse. And maaaring isa ito sa mga destination nitong mga containers and goods. So i-report ito ni operator since they are one of the possible receiver nitong mga goods. So the third one is daily report on delivered containers with kung gaano ba kabigat yung container, kung gaano ba kabigat yung goods. Or it's the net weight, the third weight, or the gross weight, or it's the total or the combination of weight of the container and the goods, or maybe it's just the weight of the container, or maybe it's just the weight of the goods. And the last one is weekly report on overstaying goods. So, syempre, kapag yung mga goods arrive at the warehouses or at the port, the Bureau of Customs has given a specific of time free of charge na kung gaano katagal mag-i-stay itong mga containers nito. Example is 7 days free of charge yun na pwede silang mag-stay sa mga ports or sa warehouse upon arrival. But the time na hindi pa rin may release or may ilabas itong mga containers or goods na ito with that specific period of time, those containers and goods shall be deemed overstaying. So, kailangan i-report ito ni operator for the bureau to have the proper management kung paano i-handle yung mga ganitong situation.
Good day to everyone. My name is Giselle Mboa, and my report is about the periodic reports. First, the operator shall submit a periodic report containing the following information. So, this is the following information include the daily report on the undischarged and loaded containers to and from the other on the other vessel. Next is the daily report on received and delivered containers, and daily report on delivered containers with weight information, and last weekly report on overstaying goods. So the daily report that I said is the information containing or the periodic report that's containing on the following information of this periodic report. Upon written the request, the port operator shall provide the Bureau with information pertaining to imports or export stored or handled. For some information which are really available, the operator shall provide the Bureau within 2 business days from receipt. So, 2 business days for receipt only for information which are not readily available. The operator shall provide the Bureau within 5 business days from receipt. This period may be extended for another 2 business days upon the approval to the Bureau. And such approval should not be unreasonably withheld. Also, the Bureau shall specify the format of the report, of this report that they do, and may require electronic submission. They required it because I think so it has a clear receipt and no mistaken. It's also in the under customs rules and regulation for failure to provide such information within the period provided, the terminal operator shall be liable for fine in the amount of 5,000 per business of delay.
Provisions for a suitable working space of Bureau personnel. The CFW operator shall provide customs personnel with suitable working areas necessary to perform their basic functions. Of course, the Bureau shall provide it because the operators are the ones who monitor and implement control measures for customs purposes, because BOZ is not liable for any loss or damaged goods stored in any warehouses. And also, it shall not be impaired or adversely affected in the exercise of the supervisory functions of the district collector and in the implementation of the CMTA of the Bureau. CCTV are installed, so anyone who wants to check their transactions after 30 days should be able to do so through it. The setting of CCTV cameras in all Bureau of Customs are viewed publicly, all the transactions being done there. It is installed so that no employee will refuse the setting up of the CCTVs. It is also an assurance that the installation of CCTVs for monitoring purposes is happening alongside the investigation of BOS employees suspected of corruption. They are continuously isolating and tracking all the bureau officials that are believed to be very corrupted.
Morning, I am Arlene Soto from Bsca 2B, and I am going to report Section 6.8, which is security, and Section 6.9, which is consultation with the port authorities. Security in the Section 6.8, the operator shall provide a security in the form of surety bond or cash bond or any acceptable form of security. It is used when the goods has been lost or damaged by the operators and to cover up the duties and taxes, which is amounting 100 million pesos. Section 6.9. This is the consultation of the port authorities. In this section, the Bureau or the BOC shall not control over the goods or handle the goods without the permission of the port authorities or the government agencies. So they shall have the permission or agreement or consultation first to handle such goods in the CFWs, which is handled by the operators.
Section 7. Responsibilities of CFW operators. CFW operators shall comply with the requirements of the Bureau on establishment, security, suitability, and management of the facility, as may be applicable including stock keeping and accounting of the goods transferred to and stored thereat. The operators should complete the documents to ensure that the goods being transferred are in a good condition because the Bureau shall not liable in any loss or damage of goods. CFW operators shall report to the Bureau all overstaying goods including emptying containers transferred to the facility of the Bureaus. Appropriate action pursuant to existing rules and regulations. It is ensure and decide on what should be done to the overstaying goods as set in the provisions of the Bureau of Customs. Upon lawful demand, the operator shall allow duly authorized representatives of the Bureau access to the premises at a reasonable time during working hours, and to obtain data documents and records pertaining to the operators of the CFW. In case of the loss of the goods stored in CFWs due to the gross negligence or willful misconduct of the operators, the operator shall be liable for the payment of duties and taxes due. The government assumes no legal responsibilities over the safekeeping of goods stored in any customs warehouse, yard or premises, unless due to its personnel's gross negligence or willful misconduct. Operators will allow authorized representatives of the Bureau to check all the goods which belong on customs premises. Upon the law, when the goods are being lost or damaged, the operator are liable for the payment of the duties and taxes. It is due to their negligence or willful misconduct because the government are no legal responsibilities on it.
7.4 Operations shall ensure a secure and safe environment for both person and goods stored in the facilities by implementing effective security measures such as the employment of a 24-hour security scheme and the installation of CCTV and similar devices as required under Section 5.1.3 and Section 6.7 of Bsca based on internationally accepted safety standards and best practices. So, kailangan secured at safe yung paligid for both person and goods. And for effective measure, dapat bukod sa security na nag-ooperate at nagbabantay, kailangan din natin ng CCTV for
security. 7.5. The CFW operator shall be responsible for the physical transfer and security of the goods at the designated temporary storage area. All costs incurred by the operators in connection with the transfer of the goods and from the designated temporary storage area, if requested by the Bureau, shall be for the account of the government, subject to the government accounting rules and regulation. So, yung operator ng CFW ang responsible sa paglalagay ng goods at security sa paglalagyang storage area. And also, yung cost, yung lahat ng cost sa pagta-transfer ng goods hanggang sa storage area ay sagot ng government as requested ng Bureau of Customs.